Bonsoir and welcome to another video. Before I get into this video, I'm going to give you guys an update on me heading overseas to Asia to get on board a cruise ship in Shanghai, China. So right now it's October the 21st. I'm going to be leaving on the 23rd. So about time I post this video, after I post this video, it'll be after I post this video, it will be the 22nd. So the 22nd is going to be the last day of me being here in the US. Yeah, the 22nd of October is going to be the last day of me being in the US. And on the 23rd, I'm going to be heading to the airport to get on a plane and head to Asia, or be more specific, China, or Shanghai, China. Yeah, I'll be on that plane and heading towards Shanghai, China. Catching that flight to China. So my luggage bag, as you see before you, it's all packed up. Got all my things in it. Have the tag on the handle for the people to get that luggage bag and send it to the cruise ship. To the cruise ship cabin I'm gonna be staying on the cruise ship. So yeah, and also I'm in a bedroom. As you see on top, as you see on the bed, it's my luggage bag and some clothes. So yeah, my luggage bag is packed up. My carry-on bag is packed up. It's all packed up along with my luggage bag and the clothes that I'm gonna be wearing to the airport. So I'm excited that I'm gonna be heading abroad. So enough of that. Let me get into this video. Okay. In this video, I'm gonna be watching a video on a YouTube channel from someone named Nathaniel Drew. And the title of this video is, "Why do the British look down on Americans?" Why do the British look down on Americans? I haven't watched this video, so I'm gonna do a reaction to it. So I'm gonna play the video and hear what people from Britain, more Pacific, London, England, United Kingdom, on why they look down on Americans. I'm an American. I live in the United States. Countries, civilized, well-developed countries. I'm gonna say countries in the world. I don't know, but they view Americans as arrogant, cocky, rude, obnoxious, freedom-loving, blind people who are narcissistic and have a big ego. And some people in other countries think Americans are stupid because Americans are uneducated. Someone from Canada said that I'm a spoiled Westerner, and I poorly traveled the world. I'm poorly traveled. So, I'm going to say this, it's not my fault because, well, I live in a country that doesn't value education. So, it's kind of sad that, I'm not educated. I'm considered an idiot. So, I'm trying to learn French. I've been putting off my French lessons. I've been skipping out on my French lessons. And, I need to stop that. Because I always get preoccupied with something. I always get drawn into something. And I got to have the willpower to ignore all that nonsense, stuff that I shouldn't be looking at and seeing and getting involved in. And I should be getting involved in a language that I want to learn. So, let me go play this video. Why do the British look down on Americans? Also, I'm going to be playing videos that are similar to this video. Okay, let me go play this and give my thoughts on it, or just give my reaction to it. Okay, here it is.
How do you feel the British perceive Americans?
I feel like there's quite a lot of, I hate to say it, but mockery involved.
I think a lot of people think Americans are extreme.
Do you think that the British think that they're better than Americans?
I think some do, yeah.
There's a lot to make fun of, I think.
We're also fantastic at queuing as well. That's another great thing about us.
They're rubbing me the wrong way because they're too extra. It doesn't seem like it's genuine.
Today, I'm in London to get to the bottom of a very important question. For as long as I can remember, I have had the sense that the British look down on Americans. This is a generalization, and therefore doesn't apply to everyone, but it's a strong enough trend that I felt I needed to investigate this further. Here's a quote from Prince Harry's memoir, Spare, that perfectly captures the feeling that I have about this. With some, the anti-American sentiment ran very hot. I was reminded of my childhood, when people warned me all the time about Americans. Too loud, too rich, too happy, too confident, too direct, too honest. I'm very curious what people are going to have to say about this. I have a feeling I'm onto something, okay? So, having said that, let's start talking to some people.
Okay, yeah, I heard stories that people from other countries view Americans as like loud. Americans talk very, very loud. They're loud, very loud. In this video, I also picked up something. Americans are too direct, too prideful, too honest. Yeah, Americans have this positivity thing. I'm gonna give my thoughts on Americans. Even though I'm an American myself. And I talked about this. They're this thing that, okay, in America, when someone says this to you, hi, how are you? How are you doing? And you reply, I'm doing fine. And a lot of people from Europe see this and they don't like it, and they don't. And and also you got some people from Germany. They view people smiling at you at Walmart and stores like it to be very, very creepy and disturbing. And Germans see that, and also Germans see Americans who work at Walmart. They chant and they make noises, like chanting and all that stuff on a job, and Germans, I think some Europeans are like this. I think they're all like this. They believe that a job is a job, and when you do a job, you're just doing a job. They're not going to say that, oh, I love my job. No, they're going to view a job. They're going to view a job as just something that you do, to get by. Work to live. Yeah, they believe in. Yeah, Europeans believe in work to live, and Americans run on live to work. Americans live to work. When it comes to a job, Americans live to work, and Europeans work to live. I like the work to live mentality. I like that. That's better than living to work. Americans just constantly just work. They work all the time. They work all the time. It's just all work and no play. Yeah. As someone like to say this, Americans always rush to school, getting to work, getting to school, getting to work, rushing, getting to school, getting to work. School work, school work, school work, school work, school work. And they don't have time to have fun and relax and spend time with family and friends because Americans work all the time and they don't get any vacation time off or nothing. They just work. The United States is nothing more than a workaholic nation. And I'm going to be going to Japan, and Japan is a workaholic nation too. So let me go ahead and continue playing this video.
At the time, my schizophrenia delusions.
Sorry about that, folks. Those pesky YouTube ads. I hate them. Okay, let me go ahead and play this video again.
I have a feeling I'm onto something, okay? So, having said that, let's start talking to some people.
Shooting a video for YouTube, could I ask you guys a question? This will be really great. You hate it? Okay, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Not that easy today, huh?
No, it's not.
I was wondering if I could just get a moment.
I've got too much
We're
time.
off to a very slow start. That's okay. Let's just change up the spot because I'm feeling like there's enough projections in that 100-meter radius.
But, I always feel really terrible that everyone's first attitude is, oh, you're from America, are you? Oh, okay. Which is always you always feel a bit bad about that. Because I'm not entirely sure why we still do that, but,
Yeah. How do you feel perceived as Americans by the British here in London?
A big, stupid, bellowing oaf. Yeah, genuinely. I always feel like I have to apologize for being American. It's like, I know my accent's the worst thing you'll hear today, but can I just order a coffee?
My experience, I feel like, has been a little bit different. I think that might be somewhat informed by the fact that I'm a student here.
Okay.
At first, there was a bit of a learning curve. Like, when I would speak loudly on the tube, I would kind of get looks, and people would tell me, like, you're being American, like, you maybe not.
There's definitely sort of a sense that there is a lot of difficult things going on in America. America potentially could be quite a difficult place to live, especially if you're of colour or from the Middle East.
I have to admit, the inspiration to make this video came when I moved to Europe, as I've explored in previous videos on this channel.
Oh, yeah. I think I kind of catch what that woman was saying. She's saying America is a very difficult place to live because because you won't be treated badly because of your skin color and your race. The United States is a socially racist country. I'm just going to say this. The United States of America is a very, very racist country. And I know this. It's a racist country. And it is. Socially racist. And you got African Americans here in the U.S. They have an inferiority complex because they dealt with so much racism. And it's not their fault. Because they live in a country that's very, very racist towards them. And and since since this video that I'm watching is based in the United Kingdom, Black Brits or Black Britons, they don't have an inferiority complex like the black people in the States or African Americans. The Black Brits are very calm. They're well adjusted. They feel comfortable. They feel good about themselves, and they don't have an inferiority complex like African Americans here in the States do. And I saw this because I talked to some Black Brits. I talked to a Black Brit here on YouTube who subbed to my channel. Now I talked to another Black Brit who's a young kid, a teenager. His name is Freeze Dollar. He subs to this channel. And I took a look at Freeze Dollar's YouTube channel. He talked about his favorite book, The Diary of a Wimpy Kid or something like that. And I kind of get thrown off by him in the comments when he tells me things on comments, on the comment section, on videos, on my YouTube channel. I get thrown off because I don't understand British lingo. Yeah, I don't know. I think Freeze Dollar, read this comment. I think he's kind of stuck up. That's just me. I'm not here to put down anybody, but I think Freeze Dollar is a decent kid, and that other Black Brit, Francis D. Believe it or not, I'm friends with him. I think he saw this video that I posted of me crying and breaking down. I did that video. It was embarrassing. I had to delete it off my channel. I think someone saw the video and called me the N-word, which is a troll. So I talked to some Black Brits like Francis D, Freeze Dollar. Then I talked to a Black Brit who's a trucker from Manitoba, Canada, at a rest area or rest stop or a service plaza along a major highway. I was traveling on a road trip to somewhere one day, and I talked to this guy. He was really nice. So, but I can't say that all British people are nice. Some of them will stab you in the back because a lot of British people, not a lot of them, some British people think Americans are stupid and they'll try to take advantage of Americans and lie to Americans. Yeah, lie to them because they know Americans are stupid. And you got some Americans who love their colonizers, which is the British. Yeah, the colonizers, the people who colonized the east coast of North America to create the 13 colonies, or the 13 British colonies, or the American colonies, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, those 13 colonies that rebelled against Britain, defeated the British in the American Revolutionary War. They merged together and formed the country that I live in today. And in all of this, you got Americans today who love the British. They love the royal family. And I look at this. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy for the British, and I'm not crazy about those people because I look at the British. I look at British culture in the UK and the UK in general. there's nothing great about all. There's nothing great about the UK, Britain, England. There's nothing great about living in the United Kingdom. I'm not trying to put down the UK, but there's nothing great about that country at all. Nothing great about it. You know, yeah, I made some videos in the past about the UK. You know, and yeah, I kind of got some thumbs down. I'm probably gonna get a thumbs down on this video, but you know what? I don't care. You know, I guess someone give me a thumbs down because I guess they don't want me talking about the UK. They want the UK. I guess they think. I guess someone in the United Kingdom want the UK. Want no one to bash the UK and just praise it through the roof. And don't call the country out for what it is. All right, let me go ahead and play this video.
I felt I had to get my answers directly from the source. My perception is that the UK is 1 foot in Europe, 1 foot like in the Americas. It feels like it should be in the middle of the Atlantic. Do you agree with that?
I think that's a pretty conclusive idea. Yeah, I think that's definitely true because a lot of people wouldn't even class England as being in Europe. You know, even in England, when you talk about going to Europe, no one ever thinks you mean Doncaster. They always think you mean Germany. You do get some perception that everyone's some sort of like a Valley girl accent or something like that, and I think that annoys people quite a lot. But then again, it's the same way that English people are often perceived as all sort of being from London. The American dream, making yourself better and being seen to be self-improving, and it's a lot about earning money and being the best you can and going to the gym and all these kind of things.
Do you think are you saying it's positive or negative?
I think it's a positive thing for Americans, but I think the way it's perceived is often everyone goes, oh, get out of my face, you know, because they probably... No one likes to enjoy someone else's success, at least in England anyway. I think in America it's probably very different. Oh great, you got a promotion. Fucking bastard, you know.
The identity of being American is like...
Okay, that's some interesting stuff. I remember I spoke to a British person on a video about the British colonizing India. And he responded to my comment. Well, I can remember what the comment was. This was a long, long time ago. Okay, in that comment, I said that I said some that's American related. You know, some about Britain and America. I don't remember. And this guy said this to me. I said, he said this to me. Oh, shut your fucking mouth, you fucking melt. Whatever he said. I think I remember what he said. Then he called me a racist because in that comment, I talked about, you know, the British treating the Indian people like, like animals and jacking their resources and food. And calling the Indian people in India savages, British India. Yeah, calling the Indian people savages. And I said to myself, well, what are you calling these people savages? Like, you Brits, you Brits are the ones who are savages. And this guy from Britain, he accused me of being racist because he says that I'm putting down his people. Like I'm calling every person in Britain, in modern Britain, who's white, savages. And he's calling me a racist, and he's saying something like this to me: "Don't fight racists with racists." And it didn't make any sense. It's the fact because, you know, he's angry because he doesn't like the fact that I'm telling the truth about his country. You know, and talking about, you know, I'm just talking about, well, not his country, I'm just talking about his ancestors. yeah, his ancestors, and so he goes and gaslights me, or he just lies on me and said that I'm being racist by disrespecting his people and putting down the British Empire in Great Britain. And he was just butthurt because I'm just spitting facts. I'm spitting the truth. But there's some British people who are thanking me for displaying the history of their country. And I was shocked that they didn't know anything about this. They didn't know anything about colonists of the British Empire colonizing India and treating the Indian people like dirt. And they were thanking me for bestowing this knowledge of history to them, which is shocking. But that one Brit was butthurt and he couldn't take the truth. So all I can say is that's his problem. Okay, let me continue.
Such a thing.
Right.
That I don't think other places have that as much.
I don't think people are necessarily dumb, and I don't think it's a question of being dumb. I think it's just that there's this idea of being the best. To think that people in America, depending on where you're born, you can have access to care or not, it's frightening. And I don't know how you can speak about being the best when you can't even make sure that everybody's taken care of. Are you treating everyone the same way in America? No, not everyone is treated the same way, just like not everyone is treated the same way in Europe.
Yeah. Well, I think I caught what she just said. Okay. She said, "Oh, Americans think that they're the best at everything. They're the best at everything." And she said, "How can you be the best of everything and you can't make and nobody makes sure that you're taken care of?" Case in point, I think she's alluding to healthcare. Yeah, yeah, in the United States doesn't have universal health care. Yeah, the United States doesn't offer its citizens universal health care. Yeah, so people go bankrupt over medical bills. People are uninsured or underinsured. You got people who are uninsured who don't have any health insurance. And the United States spends more money on health care than any other country in the world. And yeah, in the United Kingdom, they have universal health care. They have a healthcare system, a national healthcare system called the NHS, the NHS or the National Health Service. And I think some Brits said that they don't want to live in the U.S. because, they don't have a proper NHS and the entire country is a dump. Yeah, they're talking about, that person is talking about the U.S. Well, he's right. The United States is a dump. And I live in this dump. And I do. So, that woman made a good point. How can Americans talk about they're the best at everything and, oh, I'm going to leave a legacy and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be a mentor and I'm the best at everything that I do. I'm a hard worker. I work hard. I do this. I do that. I'm proud of this. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of foreigners in foreign countries, and especially in the UK. Yeah. I think they think that in New Zealand, Australia, Asia, parts of the Middle East, parts of Africa. I think countries in South America, Latin America, Canada, and all throughout Europe, especially the UK. You know, Americans are just so in love with themselves, you know, and they like, they brag about accomplishing something, and I did this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and some British people say this, fuck off, jog on, you fucking melt. Yeah, they just say that. Because they just tired of hearing all that American bullshit, which is just overrated. Yeah, and how they get how they can be all overrated, and they don't have a healthcare system that's free, public, and universal. A healthcare system where healthcare is guaranteed to everybody, regardless of income or who they are. Yeah, free, public, universal healthcare, national healthcare. Yeah, and they view and some people from foreign countries view someone having their health care tied to their job as insane. And it is insane. You're going to have your health care tied to your job. And when you lose your job, you lose your health insurance, your health care, which is crazy. So, let me go ahead and continue playing this video.
Having been to America a lot, they often ask, obviously as a joke, but just like, do you know the royal family or anything like that?
So do you feel that generally, this big generalization, there's mockery towards the Americans and Americans towards the British? It's more like cute. We think you're cute.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
How do you feel about Americans thinking you're cute?
Well, it can be taken as a compliment, obviously, but if they think that we're, like, as a country, not really a force to be reckoned with, then just because we do all these, like, things that date back to long before the US was established, it's not really relevant that they can mock us for that.
Is it condescending, would you say?
A little bit.
Or ignorant?
More ignorant. It doesn't, like, hurt me. You know?
How do you feel Americans perceive the British, first of all?
Oh, yeah, I hear about this. A lot of not a lot of Americans. I think some of them ask a British person about the royal family, and you know, I'll talk to some British people, and I never mention the royal family to them because you know I don't care about the royal family. I don't care about King Charles III and Prince Harry, Prince William, Prince Andrew, and others, the late Queen Elizabeth II. I never talked to a British person about these people. Yeah, you know, I just find the monarchy to be outdated and just old. You know, I don't really care for it. And you know, Americans, they also go around and ask a lot of questions to foreigners, people from foreign countries. You know, I'm guilty. You know, I did this to a woman from Mexico who works at Walmart. And I look back on that, you know, I ran into people from Colombia, Australia, at a store that I used to work at, a clothing store that I used to work at. Yeah, my old job, you know, I used to like ask like stupid questions to foreign people. And it's just ridiculous, you know. A lot of them ignored me, don't want to have anything to do with me. I think it's that person from Australia. So yeah. Yeah, but now, you know, I don't do that stuff anymore. And there's no need for me to do that. You know, I just view people from other countries as just other human beings, just other people, just another person. You know, I'm not going to talk about their accent or lot of stupid stuff that Americans ask people from foreign countries. I know a lot of people from countries outside the U.S. I bet they're annoyed by all these dumb questions that Americans ask. So let me go play this video. Play some more of it. Resume this video. Excuse me.
They kind of look down on us.
You feel like?
I feel like Americans think like they're on top of everything, and there's always competition between the two.
So do you feel like the British have a chip on their shoulder a little bit because of that?
Yeah, a lot.
What do you think the British are better at than Americans?
Yeah, polite, really.
More polite?
Yeah, more talkative, more helpful.
More helpful? The British are more helpful?
Yeah, than Americans. But Americans are nice, they're funny, got good music.
Got good music, okay. Well, the British have good music too, man.
Americans are taking over the music scene.
But I mean, come on, there's a lot of great British music. So here's the thing that I think is going on here. We are...
Okay, if I can remember what he just said. He said that the British are more polite and helpful and more talkative than Americans. And I see that. Yeah, because in America, you know, if you ask an American for help, you know, like they'll just lead you down the wrong path. They'll just, it's like some Americans, they don't want to help you. They get all angry and upset and they don't care. You know, they just, when they do a job, they just slap stuff together. It's like they just take shit and throw it on the wall and hope it sticks. I just think Americans they're just angry, bitter, repressed. You know, angry, bitter, repressed. You know, they're just mad. If some Americans are just mad or they just don't care. You talk to some Americans, they just ignore you and don't want to have anything to do with you. Yeah. Yeah, you know, when it comes to being helpful and talkative, you know, it's just a mess here in the US, and it is. It's a mess. But I'm not going to say that the UK and other countries are perfect, you know. They have their problems, and they do. But their problems are not in the extreme as problems here in the United States. Yeah, and they think that, and also that guy, I remember what that guy said. He said that Americans look down on the British. And the British have a chip on their shoulder because of that. I do not look down on anybody. I don't do that. Because I don't run around and think that I'm better than everybody. I just don't do that. I just don't. I don't have a superiority complex. Speaking of superiority complex, you know, I live in Texas. You got certain people in this state that I'm living in right now. They have some people here have a superiority complex, and they do. Yeah, like okay, like for instance, like a man who's married, he has a wife, he has kids. He looks down on a man who's single or a man that he doesn't know. Which is, you know, and like, you know, I'm not going to do that. And then you got Americans who like to talk trash and put people down. So let me go ahead and play this video. Continue playing this video.
We're not the same, the Brits and the Americans, but we sure have a lot of similarities. Compare us to the Japanese, or to Native Americans, or to Ethiopians, and the differences between Americans and the British.
Some companies think.
Let me play this again. Those goddamn pesky YouTube ads. Those stupid ads. If I had YouTube Premium, I can bypass all this stuff. Okay, Let me replay this scene in this video again.
That I think is going on here. We are not the same, the Brits and the Americans, but we sure have a lot of similarities. Compare us to the Japanese, or to Native Americans, or to Ethiopians, and the differences between Americans and the British seems relatively small. We're like blood siblings in the village that is the globe. So here's what all of this started to make me think of. There's a concept in psychoanalysis, I'm going to read you the definition, but it's called the narcissism of small differences. This comes from Freud. The narcissism of small differences is the idea that the more a relationship or community shares commonalities, the more likely the people in it are to engage in interpersonal feuds and mutual ridicule because of hypersensitivity to minor differences perceived in each other.
Okay, you have to skip and you have to skip all of that. So I paused the video. Okay, the British, well, Americans and the British, I'm gonna say the Americans and the British, and both also the United States and United Kingdom. Yeah, both countries have similarities. They both share the same language, the same customs and everything. Yeah, what's in the United States came from Great Britain. And that's a fact. So I'm not that very keen on history, but like for instance, like some of the states which were the former 13 British colonies. Let's see. I'm going to pick out a state. Okay. Virginia. I'm going to pick out 2 states. Okay. Virginia and Massachusetts. Virginia and Massachusetts. Okay. Both Virginia. Okay. Virginia is called the Commonwealth of Virginia. And Massachusetts is called the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So, that's all of that is a leftover. All those are leftovers from Britain. All that came from Britain. So, yeah. Yeah, the old colonial buildings. I say like stuff in Philadelphia, New England, probably Virginia. All that's from Britain. And the court system is British based. The court system in the United States is British based, but in states like Virginia, the court system is heavily modified. It's closer to it's closer to the British court system, but it's heavily modified. Also, if you go to New England, you have like town hall meetings. So yeah, I don't want to, but also even though America shares customs, from shares stuff from the United Kingdom, but the culture is completely different. British culture is different from American culture, and I heard someone say that the United Kingdom is turning into America, is becoming a miniaturized version of America. And I kind of see it, when I watch stuff coming out of the UK online. So, okay, let me go ahead and continue playing this video.
Yeah, about we were talking about things like autumn versus fall, and it's like that's often something that people like bring up, and for some, well, it's because it's a simpler word, and it's like, oh, fall, American.
You guys don't say
classic.
fall.
No, we don't say fall. We
Oh,
say
interesting.
autumn.
Okay.
So this is autumn. It's not fall.
But you can say autumn as well. All right, before we go any further, I want to quickly think.
Okay, yeah, I say autumn. I don't say fall. So I'm kind of, so I'm kind of like the British. Yeah, they say autumn. I say autumn too. Yeah, autumn. Also here in the U.S., autumn is called Indian summer. So yeah, right now it's autumn, and it is. So I didn't know that they say autumn instead of fall. Also my father call pants trousers. So the British call pants trousers, and my dad says it too. He called pants trousers. Okay, let's see. Okay. Skip through all of this.
New resealable packaging.
I hope YouTube didn't pick up these commercials, these ads. Okay, let me go and play this.
Everyone speaks English. Everyone's like got the same sort of core values. I'm not necessarily a big Christian person at all, but we all come from this like Christian-based countries. America and Australia are English. There's some things that happen in history, but at the end of the day, we're kind of all the same group of people in that regard.
Culturally influenced.
Culturally influenced by the same group. So I personally don't see many differences at all.
I mean, I've got.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they share the same culture, customs and culture as the UK. That is true. Okay, let me go. All right.
Got wonderful American friends who I adore. So that question for me is a difficult one because I think they're great, they're fantastic. Yeah. I think the differences in the way our language is, in the way we use different words, that's where there's a difference.
So pretty minor.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes some of the British media or the portion of the British population that looks down on Americans, is it a way to deflect some of the...
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the words and how words are pronounced and how words are spelled. Well, I can give you a good example of that. Let's see. Okay, the word color. Okay. Americans spelled the word color COLOR. Okay, the British spell the word color with a U. It's spelled like this, COLOUR. And words like neighborhood, harbor, these words are spelled with a U. I mean, the British spell these words with a U. Yeah, along with Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Yeah, and the word Z, okay? The United States, they pronounce the word Z as Z. The British, along with the Australians and the Kiwis in New Zealand, they pronounce Z as Zat. Zat. Z is pronounced Zat. Yeah. So like if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or the UK or Canada, someone tells you this, don't say the Zat word. Don't say the Zat word. Yeah. Like, okay, you say like calling people zombies and they'll say this. Don't say that. Don't say the Zat word. All right, Just want to give you guys a little snippet of that. So let me go ahead and play this. Continue playing this video.
Issues that exist here. Could that be said of all societies?
Yeah, you can say that of all societies, but you can also say that about the media. They're always distracting, aren't they, from topics, whatever it is.
America's seen as very alpha male. If you think about it in terms of masculine and feminine,
yeah,
there's an alpha maleness to Americans, and maybe it's just the way they speak, the accent. But you don't really have that sense of Britain. I think there's a stereotype of the repressed male, that soft-spoken.
Considering we're like right on the edge of Europe, we have more in common with America in many ways than we do with the rest of Europe, which in theory is where we should be more aligned. And I think there's sort of something that can feel sort of slightly odd about that, you know, like with the whole Brexit thing, breaking away more from where we're most closely connected to and sort of being in a situation where, you know, we're going to end up with chlorinated chicken instead.
There's this tendency to think of Americans as just, you know, they're simplistic, really.
Are you, like, annoyed by the Americans here in
Sometimes.
I wouldn't say
Depends how they are.
Now the interesting thing is I love to drag the US through the mud and criticize it for all the things that I think it deserves criticism for, but the second the Brits start criticizing me or the US, you have nothing to say. Kind of like I can criticize where I grew up, but you aren't allowed to. And the British, in my opinion, are doing their version of the same thing, criticizing themselves to no end, but no one wants an outside opinion. Maybe we all do this. I think we all do this. It's like pointing at someone else's flooding house when your own house is on fire.
So I lived in America for 6 years. I lived in California, Alabama, and Oklahoma for 3 years. Everyone hears my accent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of caught that. Yeah, I noticed it. Okay, the British will criticize themselves in their country, but they don't want an outside opinion of someone from a country outside of their country criticizing them in their country. Oh, okay. Yeah, that explains why I got some thumbs down. Got some thumbs down on some videos that I did about the UK in the past. Really bad videos. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. You know, then again, you know, yeah, and the British will bash the US, you know, and I don't care. They can bash this country as much as they want because, you know, let's face it, the United States is just a sad joke, and it is. This country's a joke. I think one British person called it a dump, and it is a dump, and I agree with that. So, you know, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to say this. You know what? You know, people in the UK, they can bash America as much as they want. At the end of the day, I don't care. You know, they can make fun of me behind my back as much as they want, and I don't really care. And I don't. Because let's face it, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, you know? I mean, nobody isn't better than someone else, you know? They're just, you know, that's just my opinion. And yeah, you know, and that woman said that, you know, America, America and Britain both share this, both have a lot in common. Yeah, Britain is aligned with America, and that's true. But I'm gonna show you guys something before I end this video, and excuse me for the video for being very long. Okay, Winston Wu, the founder of Happier Abroad, said that the United States is a socially racist country, you know, and they're racist towards, you know, people of color, and blacks, also black people and other people who aren't white. Yeah, like I say like I said about the African Americans here in the U.S., African Americans have they have an inferiority complex because they dealt with so much racism. In the UK, the blacks are black Brits are well adjusted. You know, they're calm. You know, they act so calm. You know, nothing bothers them. You know, because Britain isn't as racist to them like the U.S. is to African Americans. Like, look at this. Like, this black man, this black Brit is standing next to this woman who's white. You know, look how cool, calm, and collected he is. And like, you ain't gonna see anything like that in the States at all. I don't know. I could be wrong. You know, yeah, you know, and Britain is very open to interracial dating. You know, and I don't, and I got nothing against interracial dating. I don't. I don't care about the skin color because, you know, of two people, or I don't care about the race of two people. You know, all I see is two people who are in love. You know, and I see a black man and a white woman together. You know, I don't see a white woman. I don't see a black man. I just see a couple. That's what I see. I just see a man and a woman. I'm basically colorblind, and I don't care for race. You know, and you got these, I'm not going to say that the UK is perfect. You know, there's racism in the UK, and it is. I could be wrong, but I'm going to say this, a person who is racist, they're full of hate. Yeah, they're full of hate. Yeah, they're full of hate because, a person who's racist is ignorant. They're full of ignorance. They're full of a person who's ignorant, who's racist, they're just full of hate. And a racist person is ignorant and they're full of hate. And and I don't want to be near that person because I don't want to have anything to do with that person. Excuse me, I can't talk tonight. So that's all I gotta say in this video. More videos to come. Cheers and au revoir. And sorry about the video being long. Goodbye. I decided not to play any more videos after that video that I just played in this video. Yeah, I was going to play another video that's related to that video, but I changed my mind. Video's too long. All right. Goodbye. Cheers. Au revoir.